Well, welcome to another episode of Naked with Dr. Money. I'm Dr. Stephanie Ardrey, aka Dr. Money, and I'm excited that you joined me again this week. Well, if you've been here before, you know what we talk about. It's mindsets, motivations, and manifestations. And so in that conversation, I usually present to my guest this thought. One, when did they first recognize that they had a particular mindset? Number two, do they believe that mindset is the result of nature, nurture, or a little bit of both? Interesting. And as I've pondered this conversation with guests, we've had amazing, thoughts, reflections, insights. I think they've shared gems. I think a few of them have even presented a little bit of excitement to be able to ponder the thought because maybe they hadn't taken the time or space to do so recently. So, creating the conversation has been an exciting thing, not only for my guest, but for me. And as you know, we continue, when you're in the space of mindset work, that's ongoing work. It's a regular effort that you invest in developing your mindset. What I discovered is by developing a practice that includes, certain things that I do to allow me to maintain, as they say, mind, body, and soul wellness, right? And that's important to me because as the CEO of ZenoVerse Wellness Group, that's what we offer is healing mind, body, and soul. And so to be part of our organization, that's part of the commitment that you make to yourself is that you are going to continue the journey of growth in each of those areas and develop your own practice. And that by doing that, we would model for our tribe, what the process looks like. Because remember, along our journeys, even though we set clear intentions, they don't always work out exactly how we plan them. And especially when you're creating new habits, um, it takes some getting used to, right? And so I'm thinking about that because we have tendencies to fall in back into our old patterns. And so I must admit that I had that experience the last 2 weeks. I've been working on a package that's very important to me and it's time sensitive. And I found that prior to beginning that package, I had almost reached a state of semi, perfect balance, right? Where I was doing things that helped me to accomplish a daily high. I was grounding, I was consistent with my morning reading of A Course in Miracles. I was also reinforcing my reading by listening to the app throughout the day. I love listening to Joel Osteen messages in the morning. So I had that message happening. I was doing my warm water with lime before I had a cup of coffee. Also, before doing the warm water with lime, I drank a full container of my water that was in the copper container. Like I have all of these practices that are very important in terms of how I begin and balance a particular day. And so what I noticed is the more I incorporate these practices into my day, the more I started to re-experience the days of younger me. So let me explain. The days of younger me, I would say, would be at a certain level of joy and enthusiasm that people, felt that it was fake. Like, it's like, there's no way you can be that happy and bubbly, like every day. And I was. And it wasn't that things weren't happening in my life. There were things, there were tough things, there were tough things that I'd had to master at a very early age. So it wasn't like things were a walk in the park, but it was like I just chose to focus on the things that made me happy. And I also realized that it was my mom. My mom loved to laugh. So she loved to keep a sense of joy, in my experience in our household. And she was an artist, so she was creative. She had this creative side about her. So, I loved when we bought our first house. Typically these days you go into homes and they're vanilla, right? And my mom had this, beautiful artistic self. So, like, each room in our house had its own theme, but yet the whole house coordinated in a theme. But there was color. So, the living room you entered, it had oranges and browns, these beautiful earth tones. And then you transitioned into the living room, and there was another set of, kind of peaches that fed off, that lightened, that took the theme forward. And then the kitchen had accents of greens, limes, and, light, rich yellow, those colors. And then my bedroom, I was able to pick the color from my room. And so my room changed. Like, I had the freedom that if I wanted to repaint my room over a weekend and change the color, I could do that, right? So it was just this, beautiful, rich home experience. And so I guess I didn't even realize that those were the things that were feeding my senses. I mean, those were the reasons why today I'm in this wellness business globally. It was, in my mind, paying homage to my mother, to her vision around wellness. It was her idea. We bought our house when I was 9, and she was just learning to cook because she didn't have to cook before. We were living with my grandmother, and so my grandmother typically did all of the cooking. So I remember my elementary school, we had a book sale. And so my mother bought 2 books at the book sale in particular. She bought this soul food cookbook, and she bought this book called Back to Eden. And she said to me that she was gonna, learn to cook, but she was going to teach me how to cook. And we were going to prepare meals that would be prepared in such a way that I would never have high blood pressure. And it's really interesting because that was her intention. That was something that was important to her. Yet she, to me, she was a petite little woman. She was all of 5'1", and we always add a little extra. So she added her half. I never measured her, so I'm not sure if she really had an extra half. She probably was just 5'1", probably wasn't even 5'1". She probably was just 5 feet. But anyway, I'm gonna give her 1.5, because I tell you, I be trying to get my 5 and 5 foot 5 3/4. And my son Sterling, he tries to block me on those 3/4. And I'm convinced that I can really just round up and make it easy. So 5'6" works really well for me. But why does that kid always try to just, pat me on my head and take me back down to 5'5"? I don't know. Anyway, I digress. I digress. But anyway, so my mother, was, again, I was born in Berkeley. I was raised in Emeryville, North Oakland, which is basically all that Berkeley community. So my mother was a boomer, part of the, I guess, the hippie kind of thing. So, and she was artist and a Gemini. I mean, come on now, how many personalities did this woman have? But she was brilliant, like brilliant, off the charts, brilliant, but then very shy. So just all of these things in this person. I guess that's because she was an artist, and artists are interesting people. I guess they spend a lot of time feeling different, seeing the world through a different lens. And I think at that time it wasn't always accepted. I know I worked with artists very early in my life, and it's like I'm having that experience again where I'm kind of back connecting with the artists, and not only the artists in me, but the artist out in the world again. uh, that part is really, creating a nice connection and vibration. But sometimes I wondered about, just my mom. And the sad thing for me was, unfortunately, my mother passed at 48 years young. And it was a sudden death. She took a nap and had a brain aneurysm. And so that was a very difficult time in my life. I had just celebrated my 30th birthday. And I really didn't know how or if I would find the courage to go forward, because I too was considered weird, weird in a different way. I have my artistic ability. So I had been, the pianist. I was playing piano at 4, then violinist and dancer. And, my family, whenever we had family gatherings, it was guaranteed I was going to dance and I was going to put on a show. So I was always, confident performing in front of folks. And I was a fabulous, I remember in elementary school, I had the best music teacher, Mr. Weiss. He would allow me to learn the music first and help him teach the class. So I just had a lot of great, encouragement and confidence. My uncle had been a recording artist, and so all these musical people hung out at my grandmother's house. And before my grandmother, during her last years, became a songwriter, and received all kind of awards, at a time that, she should have been so-called slowing down. I launched her modeling career when she was 65 or 70, even actually. There was a client of mine, and I did petite modeling myself. Someone asked me the other day about a picture that I sent them, if I'd ever thought about modeling. I said, "Oh my goodness, I used to be a petite lingerie model. Even did a lingerie calendar." And then I realized that, dang it, the photographer passed a few years back, and I should have tried to get my negatives, because I don't have any. I don't know if I have what pictures I have from my old portfolio, because he said, "You got pictures?" And I'm like, "I don't know." So I have to dig, but I do have some boxes that I have not had an opportunity to open. So I'll have to check in that, and let you guys know what I uncover. Uncover from the past. But anyway, like I said, I keep digressing here. But this whole idea about holistic wellness was a seed that my mother planted, and continued to plant. She had another book called Holistic Health. And I may have shared some of the excerpts from the introduction of Holistic Health. Sometimes when I'm asked to speak, I'll share it, because literally it was written back in 1972. But when you read the introduction, it's as relevant to today as it was back in 1972. Well, so holistic health and all of those things were the foundations of not only why and how I have been on this particular journey for wellness, but also around this whole ZenoVerse Wellness Group. Well, today, and I was kind of delaying because I don't know what took him so long to get backstage. But anyway, today I have another repeat guest. You guys know him as Dr. Aubrey Oliver. He's a functional medicine physician. He happens to be joining us from Jamaica live. He's on the bus, so this should make for an interesting conversation. But we are talking about, again, mindset. And I'm going to introduce not only his mindset and my mindset, and the intersection of our mindsets and intention. There. How you doing?
in the bush.
Can you hear me? Yeah,
Yes,
I know you have.
fine. We're going through the bush, as you can see. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
yes, we can hear you. There's a little slight pause, but we can hear you. And so hopefully this is,
Are
determination.
are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. It's a little bit here and there, but isn't that Jamaica? That's the Jamaican experience. We wanted to give folks an authentic experience today.
I'm trying to get out of the bush to get a better slowing slowly.
So, Dot, I'm hoping that we'll
Can
get
you hear
some.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I
Okay,
can.
I'll talk. Well, you can hear me.
Yeah. So there's some
So,
times
as
when
you can see, I'm in Jamaica.
yes,
Well, I'm in a very precarious position to this show today because
yes,
I'm on a public bus. So, I have to be very, at the same time, quiet enough to disturb the space of others.
sure.
And, but it's a beautiful day. We're getting a nice cool breeze. It's not like the desert of Nevada where you feel like you're in a sauna 24/7. So I love this. We're in the mountains, so you're gonna get a cool breeze while you're in
Nice.
Jamaica.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to getting as much done this week. I'm supposed to be on a show with, you remember the lawyer, what's his name? The lawyer, Miguel.
Uh-huh.
I told you that he had a massive show,
Yes. Yes. And we've been talking about that.
right? And it's been, I mean, you know how intelligent and how strong he is. You've met him a few times, right?
Yes.
So you didn't, you look at him. I mean, you can see that this guy's a vegetarian. So
Wow.
you have to understand. They're vegetarian for many years. They're rascals. They think that they're doing the right thing with all this cooked out vegetable and all these carbs, you know. But their body is lacking magnesium and
Wow.
vitamin B12, which is the only place you get those from is from meat. They're lacking amino acid.
Mm.
So when I get to Kingston, I'm gonna try and see if I can meet up with him and see if we can do the show tonight. He's recovered. The medicine that we're using, some of the same medicine that we're using, is what he was taking to recover,
Wow.
to get up out of bed. He was actually paralyzed.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
right.
That's
So that's what we're working on.
well, it's funny you touched on vegetarian and the risk of just a vegetarian diet. We do have to address those different diets. But what I wanted to ask you about, what we were talking about was mindset. And I was sharing just the foundational, the intention around mindset, like my mom's mindset around back to Eden and the healthy, and then how, amazing this whole wellness organization that we're building that is about helping people not only develop but maintain mind, body, and soul healing, right? And being able to create a community of folks that are able to, live that so that they can accomplish full life of 120 years and beyond. And so in the past, we've talked about, our shared mothers exposing us to back to Eden. But
That's
the
it.
other thing that we share is we're Wallace Waddle fans.
Of course.
Right, right.
Mind,
So
using the mind, creating.
exactly, exactly.
Right.
So Doc, talk about in your context of the last 15 years and kind of how we intersected, because it was a 15-year when I started on this journey when we met in 2020. It was 15
And
years kind of,
it's a similar thing also.
yes,
15 years, because
yeah,
when I got back to Jamaica, right, so that was exactly, right, yes, 2005 for me. Yes, that's when the vision started for me here in Jamaica,
uh-huh,
because I was always thinking of doing it in Europe, but when I met you, I realized that it should be done here because we were on the same quest, we were on the same journey, on the same mission to see. I mean, I was always pushing for the first wellness holistic hospital in the Caribbean to be here. So if you look at all my business plans from 2006, 2008, upgrading them to 2015, you could see that's how I was setting everything up to be able to train young people to do what I do as an energy medicine physician, and also to be able to get them in a position to have a facility to practice, a facility to see patients, and to help. And then the next vision is to have some mobile units that are going around the island in remote areas where the elderly are suffering from pain and all the other things, and have some training in the pain management department because we have the right equipment for chiropractic, which is hands-on therapy to help patients.
yeah.
So we had the same vision, and all of this started sitting on my grandfather's veranda in 2005, looking over on his property, visioning these huts of healing miracles.
And it was so amazing because when I left California in 2000 or 2019 and came to Vegas, and I thought I was, going to have to do a casino, and I was mad because I didn't want to do a casino. I don't like casinos, but I couldn't get funded to do what I wanted to do. So I was just like, and and then I remember when COVID hit, and because I was in law school and my friend was like, Barbados was like, come to Barbados. I was like, Barbados is kind of boring. I don't really want to go to
And
Barbados.
Barbados is a puppet to the European virus also.
And when my girlfriend said, let's go to Jamaica, I was like, yeah, let's go to Jamaica. But I was mad at Jamaica on business, right? So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go to Jamaica just to kick it. And I'm not going to talk to nobody about business because I was mad at them because of being on the Economic Council. And then the project that I was supposed to work on, Port Royal, and the way they played
Right.
the team on that Port Royal deal, they did us dirty. And so I was like, forget Jamaica. I'm not, I'm done. So then the day before you and I meet, one of the guys they knew I was in real estate development. So he was like, well, let me just show you this site. And this man takes me to this 1,000-acre site, Doc. And when he's pulling up, we're not even up on the site yet. And I'm like, oh my God, this would be the perfect place for my wellness resort, right? So I call my best friend who's also a real estate developer. And before I'm like, girl, you're not gonna believe what, and she said, your wellness resort. I'm like, yes. And so I started screaming, and then I got mad again. Then I'm like, why would the Almighty let me see that now when I don't even have a team? I don't even like, I'm just now I'm pouting. I don't have a team. I don't know anybody that could work on this with me right now. Like, this is not fair. The very next day I come to you guys who are meeting about wellness resorts, and I have no clue. I'm not even on the
Going
guest
on the
list.
mountain.
So talk about
Oh
that was so
yeah.
powerful. That was like, how did that, happen? Oh, you're frozen, I guess. Okay, there you are. Did you hear me?
You hear me?
Yes, uh-oh. Okay. So the fun of being in Jamaica. So I guess he'll jump back on in a second. Uh, this intersection was really it was clear that it was divine intervention to allow Dr. Oliver and myself to meet, because also once I had relocated to Las Vegas to consider working on this casino project, I began to learn more and more about the cannabis industry. And I had already been looking at the cannabis industry from the perspective of not only funding the ventures, but medicinal applications. All right, let's see. Here he is. There you are.
Yeah. Yes, I'm telling you, I was climbing a very high mountain, the highway from Ochias to Kingston. There's a very one of the higher mountains around. We're on top now, so we should have better service.
Okay.
Okay,
You seem
all
much
right.
clearer. So wait a second.
Yes.
Are you going through the junction?
No, the tunnel. I mean, to the highway. You know that new highway between Ochias and
Okay.
Spanish Town. Right.
Okay. Okay.
You can see it out there.
Okay. Beautiful.
Major highway.
Nice.
Okay. Yes.
So anyway, I was saying how when I went to see the site the day before, I was
Yeah,
frustrated.
and then you came to Kingston the next day,
Yes,
right?
yes. Not even knowing that I'm going to come to Kingston, not even knowing that you guys are meeting about wellness. Like I didn't know anything.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a very interesting meeting, and the funny thing is, I stayed over because I was supposed to fly that Thursday to London. So there was some reason I got called about that meeting, and I was like, okay, I'll stay an extra day just to do that meeting, even though I felt like it was going to be a waste of that meeting because you know how much time that guy took me to see. Even
Yes.
before that, I met Mike Henry. I met Mike Henry. I met Mike Henry in 2005. So if Mike Henry wanted to do a wellness center with any government money, he would have done it in 2005 when he met me.
Right.
So for him to come full circle in 20 to tell me, I'm like, I know nothing's gonna happen. Nothing. But something told me to go.
Exactly. Exactly.
Something told me to
That's
go
what
to the
happened.
meeting,
Exactly.
and I was very, and he was very
Oh, the love and joy of having a conversation from Jamaica. But even with the tech and all, guys, I wanted to do it live. Just so that you know, sometimes when I'm there and I'm coming to you from Jamaica, the fun thing, but also technology and the infrastructure is continuing to evolve. So soon we will be able to always deliver a consistent, strong stream for our content when we're there. So stay tuned. That's all in play as well. But I love being able to share this story about our journey and the intersection of where Doc and I, our paths were set up to cross. I was listening to one of the Joel Osteen messages right before coming on, and it's interesting that today's message was around a similar thing about when your steps are ordered by the Almighty and the ancestors, things happen at the time that they're supposed to happen. And so he was saying that, sometimes there's somebody else that needs to be at a certain position along their journey because they're part of what helps what it is your purpose is built upon to manifest as well. Because if it is that you are working on the ancestral assignments that you've been given, then it's about your purpose. And so the things that inform your decisions, you receive and hold them in a different way. You know that they are not your idea. It's not about your brilliance. It's about your being the vehicle to bring forth the vision that the Almighty has already created. And so the Almighty exists in spirit form, and we occupy a physical body in order to fulfill those various purposes, right? And so our goals should be to learn as much about what those purposes are and how we can fulfill them in excellence. And so along the journey, we end up finding ourselves in different places that may feel like it's an unproductive place, or it's a waste of your time because it's not really where you want to be. I think it's very important at those times to think about this saying. Are you looking at your circumstances from the glass being half full or from the glass being half empty? Because depending upon which perspective you choose to observe the glass, that will reveal to you the opportunities that you have within the circumstance you find yourself. Some of these circumstances are just for your learning. And the second you change your attitude, your mindset, then you can see what the lesson is about and you can learn the lesson and you can transition to your next circumstance. But those are the things that you come to or do based on your mindset. And that's why mindset remains such an important investment and an area of work and growth. Hey there. Yeah. Nice. Nice. We see that. So so we're talking about these visions, and now when we talk about just the global vision of Africa and the world, um, you know, the vision never stops expanding. I guess if you're going to be here for over 120 years, you need to have a lot of stuff to do, right? A lot of things to do, a lot of things to accomplish. So Doc says he wants to be the fastest man in the world at 104. I've decided that I want to be the fastest woman in the 100-meter at 120 and in the long jump, the longest jumper. So I'm going to begin training for both of those areas so that they can become areas that I compete. I'm right now transitioning into heavier weights. I'm happy with my body composition. So now it's about building the muscle. So let's see. Let's see. What say you?
I tell you, I was cut off totally from the world. I felt like I went to a period of oblivion. But I'm back, and we went up on a very high mountain, so there was no service on each side of the mountain. So when we got to the top was when we got that little service, and so
Okay.
while we were descending, it cut off completely. So we're close to Spanish Town now, or Lindsay, we're close to Lindsay. So I'm looking at
Okay.
some service here. So did you pass the thing about meeting Mike Henry?
No, you were talking about meeting Mike Henry and that the guy you were like you weren't going to come to the meeting. You were like, it's a waste of time.
I know. But I was talking about Walker right after that. Walker talked about projects that we put together, we put a lot of time and energy, and it just failed at the end miserably. And I was having a series of those, and I was invested that money. So what I was doing heading to London was just to cipher some of what's going on, some of the losses that I was told. I was supposed to go there and bring some oil and just get the patient, there oil, and I had about 25,000 pounds invested in bringing those oils to the patient. When I got there, there was this person who was talking about having all this patient did not have those patients, and they were going to pay the money that the growers, the supplier wanted it to make. So it was another fail effort with my money investment and down the drain again. So
Wow.
I was like, this is good. But there's a reason why I was there because there is a movement. Like at the same time, the COVID pandemic was going on, and some people were trusting, and some people were listening like they had no choice and accept. So I was invited on the radio to talk about it, and the response that I got from the audience, I realized London needed a specialist at holistic and functional medicine, which meant for lifestyle. It makes sense because lifestyle, most of the disease that they're saying is lifestyle. Whether it's STD, whether it's illness, chronic whatever the illness is that you're facing, Western others as well, it has to do with the lifestyle or the function of your life, the function of yourself, the function of your tissue, the function of all of it is lifestyle medicine.
Yes.
So when I got there, I saw the need for that, and nobody was, one or two people that were there was, expensive. You could not believe it. You know that expensive. The guys were asking for a lot of money to help these people.
Overcharging. Yeah, sometimes people decide to take advantage instead of be a blessing. I don't suggest that you operate a business that's not a profitable business. I think it should be profitable, but you have to offer value. You want to aim to give more value in
Right.
that
A lot of the
exchange.
enzymes wasn't in it. So they were having these problems. So I had to straighten out a lot of things that had to do with in the short time I was there, I mean, I've literally seen a couple of thousand people.
Wow. Wow.
So
Yeah,
a lot of but these nobody really want to pay me what I was going to get like in the States or something. So I had to make it significantly get more class that so basically it's one of those videos where because all about like what one was talking about. So that somewhere come from somewhere where you least expect with you have to have something ready to give them to receive something as a gift. And that's
absolutely.
exactly what took place. Yeah.
So yeah,
And
London
I'm
is
very grateful
a
for that.
valuable market.
What kind of market?
Valuable. London has been not only valuable for London, but the gateway to the continent.
Exactly. And the gateway to Western Europe, the
Yes.
gateway to Africa also.
Yes, that's what I said. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the European continent. The
No.
European continent.
Yeah.
And it's the gateway to all of the European countries, including the east and west part, which goes all the way into Russia, and also the gateway to motherland, the divine mother Africa, the divine
Ab-
mother Ethiopia.
absolutely.
I,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, that's what this is all about. And so, being involved in a global movement, a global organization that is providing path for people to heal mind, body, and
exactly, exactly.
yeah.
So
And
since I
all of that
came
happened because of one chance intersection,
there,
because of
all the
two
good,
people mindset, the mindset, right? So the
yeah,
mindset. All right, this has been good. Let's see what we got. Let's see if we have any more, Doc. give us one last window so that we can close big. We didn't get to go too deep into Wallace and the science of getting rich, but we'll definitely have a follow-up conversation where Doc can return and we'll discuss that particular book and study, because actually there are multiple books in the collection. It's Science of Great Health, and there's a couple more books that offer content in that series that I happen to have as well. So, anyway, about mindset really is just that, making sure that you are aware of and developing, constantly investing in personal development for your mindset, because you, me, the next person are all on individual journeys. And sometimes the environments and the people where we are placed are not there. Hey, there you go.
The mountains again, we're climbing another one. So, enjoying the beautiful mountains in Jamaica. So, I think we touched off, we got to the mindset part, and that's what I last heard, that it's all about mindset. But what I've learned in the 15 years, now 18, is that you don't have any, you want to set the emotion, creative force, emotion, you are on your way, but you have no clue what the ride is going to be like.
That part.
No clue whatsoever. It's been a ride. I think through my spiritual ancestry coming on down, because I can actually feel the DNA of my ancestry. And when I go to places that they've been, I know I've been there
Right.
and I feel it. I am very familiar with it. I remember the first time I went to Paris and I'm walking on the brick road in, I think of the Champs-Élysées, or whatever they call it. I just know it's there.
All right. No matter how hard we try, this one is just, a little bit more challenging than expected. Um, we'll see if Doc can say bye. And oh well. It was a fun attempt at a conversation. At least you guys know firsthand that when we say naked, we really do mean naked. We're giving you the behind the scenes look at how it is we're building this global organization, sharing our journey along the way and expanding the tribe, because it's about being able to share and deliver a message and connect with those who resonate with our experiences, our desires, and what we hope to give you as gifts. So, anyway, I didn't have an opportunity to share the update on Healing Our Homes, a leadership program this week, but keep your ears tuned. I'm going to tell you more about that program. It's going to kick up again on September 3rd. So you have a little window to find out more about it. I'll share with you next week. Again, for those of you who don't know, this is my birthday month and it is my high school reunion as well. So a lot is happening. That's happening my birthday weekend. So I'm feeling super giddy. I haven't seen many of my classmates for forever. So I don't know who I'll even recognize, but one of my best friends has promised that she bought her ticket. So she'll be at the Oakland event. And then I'll see some folks from the Oakland event and then reconnect with some other folks for Vegas because this is a part 2 turn up. So anyway, what I always like to have you think about and do until I see you again, and hopefully I'll see you again next week on Naked with Dr. Money. Oh, I have a special guest and I will be on location. So there we go. A little bit of a nugget about next week. But what I would like for you to do is to hold on and give you a huge hug until I see you again next week. Take care of you. And don't forget to join me. If it's Wednesday, if it's noon Pacific Daylight Time, it is time for Naked with Dr. Money. Now, let's see. It looks like Doc is here, so let's see if he wants to say goodbye before we sign off. Hey,
Yes,
can you say a quick goodbye before we sign off?
exactly, exactly. So I just want to say, let's go for the ride. The mindset is where everything starts. Everything that we see that's beautiful, everything that we love, everything that we admire, every design that we partake in, every building, the architecture, some things that we love, it all started in someone's mind. So let's understand the mind gives you what you want. Think about that. The mind gives you what you want. So always put your mind on the right mindset. You put it on things that are out of order or not working, then that's what you're gonna be having in your life, out of order life. If you put your life being in order, mind, body, and soul balanced, then you'll have that. So looking forward to continue next week. I think next week I'll be outside, so it will be a better reception. Definitely. That's
All
a good
right.
one.
All right. Have a
Thank
safe
you.
journey.
Thank you.
Okay.
Continue. Going back up and
Please
out. Maybe
continue.
more later. Good seeing you. Bye
Okay.
bye.
See ya. All right, guys. So that's the official sign off, and I will see you next week, Wednesday, noon Pacific Daylight Time, Naked with Dr. Money. Take care. Smooches.